Can you please tell us a little about yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Amy Edwards. I'm the director of the Center for Autism and Neurodiversity at Drexel University.
Can you please tell us more about Drexel University and the surrounding community?
So, Drexel University is a university in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We're in the city. We are a little unique because we do have co-op programs for our students. So students would go to Drexel for 5 years and take 3 co-ops, 3 6-month co-op employment experiences, which helps them not only graduate with a degree, but they'll graduate with 18 months of experience.
Can you please tell us about the Center for Autism and Neurodiversity and the supports you provide?
The Center for Autism and Neurodiversity at Drexel University is for students who are matriculated. They get accepted to Drexel through the regular admissions process, and then they can apply to our program. I say apply. We don't cap our program. So if you are accepted to Drexel, then you can be part of the center. There's no limit. And the program itself is meant to be a fading support. So in the beginning, it's more of a scaffolding approach. We put a lot of support around students when they first come in, and then hopefully by senior year, they're just coming back to say hi. That doesn't mean that I still don't meet with seniors weekly. It just depends on the student. So each student is different, and we individualize the support that they get. The program has about 150 students in it right now. Now, we don't meet with 150 students every week. Students do go out on co-op. And again, it's meant to be a fading support. It is mostly residential. Most students do live on campus. We also have a neurodiverse friendly housing living learning community at Drexel, which is just the same as any other living learning community. However, we have different roommate agreements. They're a little bit more detailed. We have specific RAs that are trained. We have a CAN student who is also a community leader. She's an upper class student who is kind of our liaison. We hold different events once a week. We have a cooking class. So there's a lot of interaction in there as well. Which students qualify? Again, any student who can be accepted to Drexel is welcome in our program. We do not require a diagnosis. It is helpful. However, a lot of students come to our office and, will say things like, I've always been told I might, have these differences, but I wasn't sure. Our main priority is to help the student. We don't care if there's a label on it or not. However, if you do have previous documentation, it is helpful. So again, to apply, once students are accepted to Drexel, they can then apply to the Center for Autism and Neurodiversity. We do have an interview over the summer that we ask students to attend, and that's more of a get to know you interview. It's not going to deny or admit students. So students who would succeed probably best in the Center for Autism and Neurodiversity at Drexel would be students who are motivated to be there. They would be capable of doing college level work. They're able to live independently if they're living in the res halls. They, have some experience in independent living, using a morning alarm, doing their own chores. They've worked without the assistance of a one-to-one support aide by the time they have graduated high school. They can address self-care and hygiene. They can manage their own medications. Those are just some of the examples of what we would look for in a student. The major thing that we do with students is academic coaching, but it's more of a holistic perspective. We meet with students once a week, more so if necessary. However, we start with once a week. The once a week meeting, we will start out, very first meeting, we're going to look at their Blackboard shell. We're going to look at all of their syllabi. We're going to create a calendar that has all of their due dates on one calendar. We're then going to create a task list between the 2 meetings. So the first meeting, we'll create a task list of everything that's due before the second meeting. When we meet on the second meeting, we're going to go through that list and say, okay, what did you get done? What didn't you get done? Why didn't you get it done? And then kind of go from there. This way, students get into the habit of kind of chunking things out and seeing where things are due. We also can break it down daily if they need to. We also can look at their block schedule to kind of look at, okay, you have 2 hours here, this is a good time to do math, or you have 3 hours here, this is a good time to play video games. That way they're not spending 80 hours on math every week or 80 hours on video games. it kind of, gets them into the habit of portioning their time the way they need to. We also ask all students to sign consent forms. Since the law has changed between high school and college, the consent forms allow us to talk to advisors, talk to co-op advisors, talk to disability resources, talk to counseling. We'll never talk for a student though, and we will never talk unless a student is aware that we're talking. So let's say a student has a problem with a professor. We're going to help the student figure out, how to draft an email to the professor. We're going to help them figure out how to have the communication. We can practice the conversation, but the communication is going to come from them. It's not going to come from us because they're not going to learn anything if we're doing it for them. So if we do all that in the first term, the second term, we're going to go, okay, now it's your turn to make the calendar. And we're going to kind of, fade the support.
Would you please tell us about the courses that CAN offers for students?
We also offer a course the first 3 terms. So the first 2 terms, now Drexel's on quarters. Forgot to mention that. The first 2 terms gets more into, living with a roommate, group work, hygiene, public safety, kind of getting acclimated to Drexel. The third term, the students will start to work with our employment advisors in CAN, in the Center for Autism and Neurodiversity, which we kind of we have a co-op class. We took the curriculum from the co-op class, pulled out the things that our students struggle with the most, and that's what the curriculum focuses on. It's a little more individualized in regards to employment, where they'll go over interview questions, they'll look at resumes, they'll make sure that they know what to wear and things to say.
Can you tell us how you support student social connections?
So we have peer meetings. I did the class. We have social hours and study hours. Once a week, students will meet with other students, kind of learn some tips and tricks. We can give them as much social knowledge as we want to. A friend of mine said this, but if they don't have social practice, it doesn't matter. So we try to give them as much social practice as possible in a no judgment zone. In the beginning of the year, it's usually very quiet. It's very structured. By the end of the year, I have to close my office door because it's so noisy from them playing games. So it's great. We have study hours as students need it. So if we see that a student is struggling or not getting things done, we're going to say, you know what, why don't you come in on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 2 to 4, check in with us, and you can sit and get your homework done for this specific class. We're not going to watch them do the homework. We're not going to check the homework. It's more just to keep them accountable for getting it done. We also have a student organization called Neurodragons, which is another way for students to be social. We have a small grant that supports that. We have events once a week with Neurodragons. We also have other events. We go to Dave & Buster's. We go to Phillies games, usually about once a quarter. We also offer parent Zoom meetings once a quarter, and they're more general parent questions that we get, but we would like to address them with everyone. And it kind of helps as a community of parents. We also offer an ID card, which it's an interesting card. I actually didn't come up with it. The Graduate Student Union came up with it, and Public Safety. But it basically, they keep it with their ID, and it says, I may have a hard time communicating. I may pace. I may have other movements. It does not mean I do not need help. And then on the back of it is my cell phone number and Public Safety's number. I've been called once, maybe in 7 years, knock on wood. So, it helps them be more comfortable. So neurodiverse friendly inclusive housing, just to let you know, it is neurodiverse friendly. So you don't have to be neurodivergent to be in it. However, it does have, it's a little more quieter. We have a sensory room as well that's up there, or a wellness room, I should say, and specific events.
Please tell us about your CAN student ambassadors.
We have CAN student ambassadors. So CAN student ambassadors are CAN students who are doing really well. They're upperclassmen. They help us out at tabling events or information sessions. We have Collaborate and Connect workshops, which are social skill building workshops that we hold. We also collaborate with a lot of off-campus partners as well as other universities. In this field, a lot of us we don't compete with each other because there are so many students. So we collaborate. So you may come to me and say, I really like Drexel, but this is the support I need. I may say, you know what, I'm going to go talk to Westchester and I can connect you with the director there because they offer the supports that you're mentioning.
How is your support staff team structured?
So the staff currently, it's myself as the director. We have an associate director who runs our employment side of things. We have an employment advisor. We have 3 other CAN advisors, and we have an administrative assistant. We work closely with other partners on campus as well. We have tutoring services through the Center for Learning and Academic Success Services and the Academic Resource Center. A lot of what we do as CAN advisors is connect the dots. So a student might come to us and say, I'm having a problem with math. I don't know what to do. We will help them figure out how to get the support that they need, either through the Math Resource Center or through the Center for Learning and Academic Success Services. We have a relationship with our Office of Disability Resources, which is Accessibility Services Department, who provides the accommodations for our students, and we will help them through that process as well.
Any student success stories you would like to share?
I have one story that comes to mind. We have a student who is going to be graduating soon. When they first came into the program 5 years ago, they didn't speak to any of us. They had their head down. They just didn't talk, no social interaction, and it was very difficult to get them even to have conversations with us. I spoke with them, I want to say about a month ago, and they were in an office that was kind of adjacent to mine with a student organization. They came into my office and said, "Hey, Aim, how's it going? I heard about X, Y, and Z." And we had this full conversation, made eye contact, was confident, like it just gave me chills of the progression that this student had made. And in speaking with their parent, they had thanked us for the support that they received through CAN to get them through at Drexel and to help them become who they are. So that's one of the more heartwarming stories. But that just kind of stuck with me.
Big thanks to Amy Edwards and the Drexel CAN program. Please subscribe to Inclusive Academia.